We are live with our guest for today, Meredith Gardner. Super exciting. Meredith and I had the same first summer, so it is a pleasure to have her on here. She has a really funny story about her time in and out of Southwestern with a giant gap. And so we'll hear about all of this and more. I'm so excited to have you on here. How are you, Meredith?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on here. I've been watching really cool videos, good stories.
Oh man, it's so good to have you. I mean, I haven't seen you. I don't remember the last time I saw you.
In person?
Yeah, it's been a minute, right? Yeah, it's been a minute. So exciting though. So right now, let's talk about this first. What are you up to now? What are you doing? Let's hear about your current job, your current situation.
Sure. So I am a physical therapist and have been for about a year and a half.
Okay.
I work with very, very sweet, endearing elderly people. And most of them like fell or are gonna fall or whatever. So I help elderly people not fall down, and it's pretty cute. It's adorable. I like it. I also treat vertigo. So if you have like crystals loose and whatnot, I fix that.
That sounds. You're like the person that they call when help, I've fallen and I can't get up. It's like, oh, Meredith will help you get back up. Is that you?
They send those people directly to me afterward though. And then I'm gonna need to see you like.
So she's the next one.
I'm the second responder. I'm the second.
Here comes Gladys.
But yeah, I mean, you got the right idea. For sure.
That's awesome. Cool. Yeah. All right, that's fun. And you are in Gainesville, and I
just bought a house, so here I am. I'll be here for at least 2 years. I'm owning this house. Yeah, go Gator.
That's awesome. Okay, so now let's go back in time now. So let's go back up to when because you went to school in Florida.
Yes.
Okay, so
University of Florida.
So let's talk about the first time you heard about this insane thing that we do.
I was recruited last minute. So I was recruited like the week of or the week before. And I didn't really have any plans for the summer. I was dating this guy from high school, and I was gonna go hang out with him. So I was in the library studying for final exams, I remember, and I was procrastinating, and John Stewart approached me with a floating yellow
questionnaire.
Questionnaire. Filled it out because I literally would have done anything except continue studying. And then in that moment, got a call days later on it was a Friday, and on the phone, he's like, you consider yourself a reliable person? And I was like, I mean, I guess. I remember signing up for Monday. So I go to this info session on Monday. I hear about it. I'm like, ooh, a job, like an internship. I've never had one of those before because I was a freshman. And I went to my best friend, Morgan, and I was like, Morgan, there's this internship. You got to hear about it. I want to go in with somebody, you know? And she's like, oh, is that the one where you like sell textbooks in the Midwest? I went to one of those, and I mean, cool if you want to do that, but I'm not doing that. I was like, sell textbooks in the Midwest?
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, so I interviewed again, and then I just kind of got caught up in the interview because at the time I was just really young and thought like I need experience in internship. I backed out once or twice. It's like a really long interview process, and then I finally decided I was going to do it like 2 days before we left. So that's how. And I remember my mom was like super concerned. And then I remember being super bratty about it and being like, well, I'm 18 and I'm just going to go. And I did. My mom was the best.
What pushed you over the edge to do it?
What was that?
He said, "Well,
What
push
pushed
you over
you over
the
the
edge."
edge to do it?
Oh, I had some really good phone interviews. I talked to Katie Collins for like an hour and a half. And can you imagine? I've had like
Yes.
so many of those phone calls since, and if I spent an hour and a half with every one of them, it would be just ridiculous.
Awful.
But whenever they call and spend like 5 minutes, I'm like, well, you're definitely not going to do this kind of thing, because
Yeah.
I just remember like, I was like on the edge, and she was like, just do it. And she was super cool. I still look up to her. And by the end of the phone conversation, I made my mind that I was going to do it. But yeah, she spent an hour and a half with me, like crying on the phone and
On the phone.
like being like, should I do it? I lost my rubber band I was playing with.
Are my dogs being loud with that bone chewing? Can you hear that on really loudly?
No, I can't. I can't believe how good my dogs are being.
These two are being okay. These are my brother's dogs, actually.
Oh.
So I'm being a good uncle. But okay, so
Earlier.
that was 2012. That was the same. I got selected Wednesday of finals week. Like that.
Right on, yeah.
It was like
same kind of deal.
I remembered they had like a thing about that on GRS2 when we went to Chicago, and they had us talk about like what made us like go.
That's one of the reasons I backed out. I think I was like, dude, I gotta study for finals. Like, please stop talking to me.
Wow.
And I think I got wrecked on those finals too. So
starting the year off, nowhere to go but up.
Yes. So we went to West Virginia, and it was freaking redonkulous.
Okay. I can't imagine the stories that we got from that first summer. I want to hear some of these.
I'm so glad I went somewhere so incredibly ridiculous and different than what I'm used to. Like, I grew up in Sarasota, Florida. It's like a coastal town suburb. We have like 7 high schools. They all have 3,000 kids in them, like at least. Super crowded, and suburbs just like, I just didn't understand like there was a different way to live, honestly, at the time. So I get to West Virginia, and like the first thing, these houses are just randomly scattered and really, spread out, and they just follow, I guess, the natural curves of the mountains or whatever. And I remember like the first house I stopped at, they were like, oh, we don't have kids here. You got to go up Taylor Holler. And I was like, huh? They were like, you got to go up Taylor Holler. And I was like, what did you just say? Can you please write that down with like the spaces and the punctuation? So I learned that in West Virginia, they just have like families that live in one holler, and it's just Taylor Holler. The Taylors live in Taylor Holler, and it's like mom, grandma, aunt, uncle, whatever, like all boom, like in a little section way back.
I had no idea about West Virginia like that. That's
oh my god.
Taylor,
at least where I was.
Would you be in like a holler and just tell all the moms because they were all sisters or some shit?
Yeah, sometimes, or it would go horribly wrong. Like, it was one or the other. Most people bought something, even if it was like my books. Like, even if they didn't have money, they're like, yes, I want it. So I had like
so interesting.
450 freaking customers, right? But it was just like, I can't even.
Did you say 450 customers?
Yes, but
oh my God, how long that took to deliver?
I
legitimately like couldn't find them again, or
that sounds.
We'll talk about that. Like, I've resolved it with all my customers, just for the record, but like, I think, pretty sure, 90% sure.
Wow.
Wow. But at the time, like, I had a, this is so funny because now they have Sales Rabbit, which is like revolutionary. It's incredible. I don't know if you guys know, like,
we'll talk about that in a sec. Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Because you experienced that and I didn't get to, and I want to hear
I had a GPS and it said like driving on road. Like, I was so far on the sticks, like I didn't have cell phone service at all, even if I needed it or wanted it, or in case of emergency or whatever. Like,
you couldn't be on your phone.
There was nothing. There was no technology. I had a paper map, which I'd never used in my entire life. And I didn't understand that like, oh, it's gonna be hard to like find these houses again, you know? So anyway, I had like 450 customers and like half of them were like, I got lucky and they had cash on them that day and they would just buy them, or like when I delivered, or they were just like, yeah, I don't know when I got there. And I was like, dang, so people buy things when they don't have money to buy things. That's so weird. It just blew my mind. It actually blew my mind the next summer I was in Ohio and people said no more often, but every single one of them came through. And I was like, these people buy things and have the money to buy them. That's so weird. Like,
that's trippy. That is
like,
so wild.
Yeah. West Virginia was like just ridiculous. And we all did like super well. That team, there was 12 of us on that team. And like, I'm still best friends with many of them.
That was like the 12-person, 26,000 unit record-breaking Jon Stewart team, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm interested in. You're already talking about it a little bit. What are some of the like crazy things that happened as an org that summer that you can speak to?
Yeah, that's a good question because it was like far from perfect.
Yeah.
Far from perfect. I don't know. It was. There was 12 of us on the team, but we were part of an org with Mike Yandre, and Mike was the OL. Jon Stewart was only a B, so he wasn't. You know, he was a manager, but he definitely like was more involved. Like he managed his team like very well. But anyways, we like got there and there was zero housing whatsoever. Like
holy shit.
None at all. It took like 4 days of us driving around in the car for like, my host family was some family that had bought books a few years ago. And they said, this is funny, actually. Forgot about this story. We're still friends. I love this family. They live in Florida now. But anyway, they were like, hey, we got your call. You know what? Why don't you just come on over and kind of check this place out? Because we don't really think it's suitable for like you guys. And we were like, okay. And we had 0 leads. 3 people already said no. It was like day number 4 of being homeless, right? So
staying in your car.
So we get there and it's just a gutted basement. Like it's an empty basement with a pool table, no beds. There was a shower and we were like, but the house was gorgeous. Like it was like a mile up a mountain. It had these big like glass, of course glass, but these big triangle windows like staring out into the mountain range. It was just unbelievable, right? We get there and we're like, this is amazing. And the family didn't tell me until like 2 years later that their intention for bringing us there was to show us that we shouldn't stay there. And downstairs, the mom was like, so when are you thinking you would need a place? And we're like yesterday. Yeah. Like, oh man. And she goes, gotcha. Okay. Well, I guess you can like, get some stuff. So, they tell you like, you got to put your stuff in the house or it's not your house, right? Like you haven't achieved host family until your stuff's in the house.
Yes.
So we like go grab our stuff and the husband's looking at her like, what just happened in the basement? Like, are you kidding me? What are they doing? Why are they bringing in stuff? And she's just like, I don't know. We ended up living there. So picture that times 9. So that was the host family situation.
Yeah,
so
that's
like,
crazy.
Jon Stewart had like his first summer, he had like a host family already set up and they had like 4 little kids and they were really cool parents and it was just like this dream. So when he recruited people, he told them that's what it was going to be like. So as you can imagine, it was a freaking crapshoot. Like he had like 4 sorority girls that were very like, whatever you want to say. But anyway, sure. they're just like, my dad is not going to be happy when he hears about this like kind of situation. And
yes.
that was the beginning of all of it. And then I don't know what to say. Like I said, everyone in West Virginia, like it was just, they're like, okay, like
a wild time.
Yeah. The org itself though, we had like 6 of us did extremely well, and 6 of us didn't do anything at all. So like the 6 of us that did well, kind of like carried the team on that one. But
who was all on that? Who do you remember the 6?
Yeah, Alex Black, Maria Benzekri, Cassandra, Cassandra Feierabend, Carlos Navas was in our org, but he wasn't on that 12-man team. This girl named Christina, a couple kids from Miami, a Lion and Albert Tico, and then one of John's good friends, Chris Scala, and trying to think. There were a couple other kids I never saw again.
Like they were no longer with us.
But I'm very, very close with like, half those people I just mentioned. So
yeah,
we were friends for a long time.
Well, I remember because we had the same first summer, right? So and then I remember like seeing your name come through the pace setter, because at the time that's like all you cared about. As a first year, I'm like, I just gotta be number 1. Like you don't have to like coach, you don't care about your team, you don't have a team, right?
Sure.
So I remember watching your name just climbing. I'm like, who the fuck?
I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty high maintenance. So I'm not a sorority girl, but I was a pretty high maintenance book chick at the beginning.
Oh shit!
I was also like, this is not what you told me it was gonna be. Like, this is not what I did not sign up to get lost in the freaking woods, man. Like,
oh, you were throwing fire.
And, it was, I would get like 2 coaching calls most nights. Like, it would just be like, So the managers in that org were great. They were awesome. I'm sure that's the reason it went well. You know what I mean? But it's a first year, you don't know that. Like, you don't know the work they're doing behind the scenes.
Right. Right.
This is one like good story from that.
Please tell as many as you'd like.
Yeah. I was starting to find out nobody quit. Even the people that weren't doing well didn't quit. That was different, because later on I learned, people quit. Like, no one in the org quit, right? So and there was a lot of us. So that was just really, really, really like magical and cool. But they did do this. So my roommate was a senior. She had graduated and then went and sold books, and she was just kind of like, whatever. Her name was Charlene, and she started hooking up with a manager, and I won't name any names. I found she just like told me later.
Your first year roommate?
Yeah, my first year roommate's like
what?
Like hooking up with one of the managers, and she's like,
she's an older first year. She can do what she wants.
She was an older first year, right? I was a freshman. She was like graduated. He was like, dude, don't stress, because I was so high strung all the time. Honestly, Southwestern like really calmed me down, because I was like, you can't control.
Okay, that's hilarious, because I am the exact opposite.
That's funny. But anyway, she was like, Meredith, you need to relax. Like, this is not that big of a deal. She's like, when I go hang out with the manager during the day, he just like sells until he hits 60 units and then goes home and does whatever he wants for the rest of the day. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me?
You can do that?
So pissed. I was so pissed. So one day she was like, Meredith, seriously, like if you're not okay, like if you need somebody, because I was just like, I don't want to work all the time.
Oh my
like
God.
just come, like give me a call. So I'd have to like drive into town to call her, because remember, I don't have cell phone service. So like, give me a call, and you can come meet up with us. And I was like, all right, cool. So I was like, I can get through the day knowing that I have an out. There's like an option.
Yeah.
And I work the morning, something ends up pissing me off, and then I'm like, that's it. Calling Charlene. So
this is an off-schedule story.
I turn around.
Yeah.
I turn around and go to town. I text Charlene. She gives me an address. She goes, hey, here's an address. So I'm like, okay, cool. It's a park. Show up at this freaking park, man. Half my org is there drinking beer and hanging out.
Are you fucking kidding me? What the hell? I'm angry.
So like, imagine
No, I've never heard of this before.
Imagine knowing
Oh
that as
my
a first year,
God.
and then like the manager is working to like keep me working, you know?
That is so funny.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, they're like working so hard to like keep me motivated. Meanwhile, I'm like, this freaking crew is not doing anything, man.
Oh my God, they're all drinking beer. No, but no wonder no one quit. They went
Oh
partying
my
in West
God,
Virginia all
the
summer.
ones they just like hung out, you know? But like, I'm telling
So
you,
you get retention.
you would never know. I swear to God, like the managers were probably just like, guys, do whatever you want, but don't screw with the people that are doing well, because we've got a really good team going.
Yeah.
That's
Oh
basically.
my God.
And
that is so wild.
it made me super mad, just like Nick just said. And I went back to work because I was pissed, and I was like, "You gotta be freaking kidding me! I can't believe it!" And I didn't. To my memory, I don't think I got off schedule again. But I was, obviously it was harder to like get out of the house in the morning. I was like, "What the hell?" And we were doing super well. So it's like, but
it made you feel
the
alone.
people at the park weren't the ones doing well, obviously.
Yeah.
So good people. They're doing well now. Like
that's wild.
Yeah. So that was mind blowing. That never happened again. Nothing like that ever happened again in my career.
Oh, that is so funny. Half the orgs just
and and like the other half like went to Sizzler, like the whole other half.
partied much later.
Yeah.
Well, do you remember the dinner we had at Dan Moore's house after that summer?
Very vaguely.
Oh,
I wore a purple shirt. I know that, and I met Gwendy. And Gwendy, to me, who I'm still friends with, Gwendy, she was the one on the pace setter that people were trying to like pit me up against her, and I was like, "Who is this person?" Like, so I finally met her like in real life. I remember.
Yeah,
that.
I remember because that we had that was like a very good first summer for all those people. I mean, like.
Yeah.
That
was a killer.
So I was number 9 and I sold 4,200 units, which I think it would be like in the top 1 or 2 since, every summer since.
Apparently this year.
Except for this year. But, well, I don't know how the top first year did this year, but we'll talk about that in a sec. But, oh no, yeah, dude, I don't know. Anyway, the point was like, I was number 9. Can you imagine? So like, I mean, Hannah sold like 6,000 some odd. And then it was Reed Joseph or something. And I mean,
absolutely, I remember.
And then it was Morgan Jones, and then it was you. You're 4th.
I was 6th. There was Travis.
Oh, Travis Brevig.
And then I don't know what the other person. I was number 6. There's actually, I'm spilling a secret here, but there's a legend in Eagle Blitz for females that are number 6. It's many. There are many, like Maddie Greger, Amy LaValle, Jenny Newt, me. We're all like Eagle Blitz 6th. It's
sixth
like
top
a little like crew, yeah.
That's dope. That's crazy. That's crazy how many fucking first years were doing so well. A lot of people did really well that summer. Like that Sizzler was so fun because there was like so many first years on it. Like there's so many people on it.
It's just ridiculous. My second Sizzler, we were just talking about this the other day with Chris Scala. He was at my house. He came and visited. And he's like, none of the other Sizzlers were as fun, man. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know if it was just because it was the first time or because it really was that much better, but it was awesome.
I mean, I like my first Sizzler better than my second, but my second was great though. I still liked it a lot, but it was so wait.
In 2012 was legendary.
Yeah, 2012 was amazing. It was, and I mean, it was just like people got arrested. There was people doing all sorts of crazy shit everywhere. Like it was, and there was a club in the club in the resort. So it was just bananas. Yeah, that was crazy. So hold on. You ended up selling how many summers?
I sold
total
5 in a row, and then I went to PT school for 3 years, and then I sold for another month.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about. Sure. I'm excited to talk to you about this because my brothers work. They do really well, and that's actually who you worked with, which we'll talk about that in a sec. But I hear from his kids all the time, right? Because I hang out with my brother. My brother's kids hang out with him. So my only association with Southwestern is through that connection.
Sure.
And I try to like explain to them how different it was for us back then with like paper bars and like
I'll
maps.
let you know.
Yeah, and so, but they're like, it can't be that different. So now I want to hear this perspective from someone who's like, who knows. Yeah.
Let me also add to this perspective, just so you know where I'm coming from. You know that I did West Virginia, and then after that I did like roundabout West Virginia, pretty much. Like,
sure,
was never as backcountry as that ever again, but it was, you know, not the freaking New England. So I sold in New England for the 6
Yeah, New England's amazing.
Like, first off, it's like a 28-hour drive. Like, are you kidding me?
And we did that every summer. It was crazy.
Oh my God. But yeah, dude, it's your iPad is your lifeline, which is incredible because we had to put our cell phones in the freaking trunk.
Right. Yeah.
Sales Rabbit is just, oh my God. You know, all of this like safety hazard of drawing maps while you're freaking driving, like whose idea was that first of all? I think they were like, pull over and do your map, but who did that? Like,
no excuses.
They were like, no, can't waste time. Must write on paper.
Yeah.
I learned how to read a freaking map. I'd never read a map in my life until I read books. I'm actually really grateful I had all those experiences because my sense of direction has improved a lot. But yeah, it's iPads, coaching's the same. Host family, same. I got a good story about that actually.
Okay.
The people though, holy crap, man. First off, Massachusetts. My mom's from Massachusetts.
They're assholes.
My mom is from Massachusetts. I was like, oh, they're gonna be so cool. My mom is the best.
I hate it. That's so true. I hated it when people said, because we worked in New England, but not always. Like New York is not the same as New England. Like upstate New York was way different. So when people said the territory didn't matter, it's like, no, it doesn't matter if you know how to sell in that territory. It does fucking matter if you go from like, I was in the sticks in upstate New York, and then I went to like the most expensive high school in America. And that, you know, it's like, what?
I went to totally Harvard, Massachusetts. You started there?
That was my first summer. And
yeah, that was next
God, the people are animals.
They're fucking rude.
Ruthless.
My third summer, I just rolled out and hit growth like there was nothing to it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird.
There's way more like suspicion, and I get it. Like, I have a house. I'm a homeowner. Someone came to my door, and like, oh.
1 second. Go ahead.
If someone came to my door and didn't have their stuff together, like if they were fumbling on their words, and of course I would, like, because of my experience, give them like a second to figure it out. But if I didn't have the experience I had, I think I'd probably just shut the door in their face. Like, I mean, I get it now more than ever, you know, but people are super, super suspicious. Way quicker. There's way more like mom groups. There's way more like community text messages where if someone will just be like, what are they doing? I remember this lady was like, headset, like in Harvard, Massachusetts, everyone works from home, even pre-COVID. Like they're all tech people working from home. And she's got her headset on. She's like, blah, blah, blah in the headset. And then she was like, it was 8 a.m. She's like, what do you want? What do you want? And I was like, I'm Meredith. I'm the one, you know. She's like, who are you? And I'm like, I'm Meredith Gardner with Southwestern Advantage. She's like, who are you? What are you doing?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? It's just like I was like, I'm selling books door to door for money. It's just, she just like kept cutting me off. And then within like the day, it was like mommy group text message, all of the young moms, because she had like a little kid.
Yep.
Super suspicious of me, thought I was abducting children. Why is it always like straight to that? I don't know. But that never happened to me. Like that was the first time ever. And I was a little blown away. I'm not gonna lie.
New England's a different animal.
It is.
Like true New England.
I
was like,
it's insane because also just in Massachusetts, it's that way. Did you ever go to New Hampshire?
I followed Aisha in New Hampshire and they seemed nice. Not that I'm saying territory matters.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the thing.
Aisha was also killing
but that is true though. So My my second summer, I lived in Haverhill, Massachusetts, and it's like up northeast. So like I was 100 yards from that new border, from the border of New Hampshire. And so my first few weeks I sold in Massachusetts, and they were fucking lethal, man. They were so mean. Like I got kicked out of my first town right away. They're mean. I still got customers and stuff, but they're mean. And then
Did you get customers that'd be like, it'd be like mean. Yeah, sure, that looks good. I'll just take all of it. Mean.
Although I do have some ponies. I do have some ponies and bags I dropped in Massachusetts from people, and it's like,
dude, I've never seen anything like people the way they buy. They're just like, I'll take this.
Fuck it, yeah. They'll just I'll just take the whole thing. Yeah, it's insane. So then I got
don't cancel.
yeah. And then I got put up in South Kingston, New Hampshire, and I crossed the border. Same big brick kind of money, but there was like nicer people, and I murdered it. It was crazy. Then I went back to Massachusetts, reloaded, and then I finished strong. But it was the first 2 weeks. I was like, I cannot imagine how.
Like I can't even. And it's funny because these people are sharp. Like I would get people that'd be like, come here. And I'd be like, okay. And they'd be like, you're the book girl everyone's all concerned about, right? And I'm like, I don't know, man. And this lady's like, you seem pretty harmless. Do you mind if I actually check if you have books in your car? And I'm like, yeah, sure, absolutely. Here's a bunch of books in my car. Thank God I'm not a first year, right? And she's like, yeah, okay, cool. She's like, I'm not gonna buy them, but I just, I'll whoever asks me, like, I'll tell them you're not trying to take our kids. I'm like, thank you. It's nice. So I meet like cool people like that. And had a good end to it too. I had a good last week there. But yeah, I was like, I'm only here for 3 weeks. Like these people are.
It's about the host family.
Yeah. So this is great. I get into this. I'm like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna sell books again for a couple weeks. And John, who is my fiance, he's super supportive. He's heard me tell a bunch of book stories. Like, yeah, heck yeah, that's awesome. Go for it. Borrow my iPad. I'm like, okay, cool. Right on.
Good job, John.
I was so broke. I was like, what can I do to just make like a couple $1,000s like right now? And I reached out and Mark was like, yeah, you can field manage. I was like, yeah, that'll be fun. Here's what it looked like in my head. I was like, I can work when I want. I don't need to like wake up at 6. I'll just do my thing. I'll go out there, I'll hit 100 units, I'll drive home, park in the driveway, and just watch TV and go to bed. And it's not going to be a big deal. I can go out to eat, I can drink beer, I can drink wine, I can do whatever I want. And it's going to be like leisurely, and I'm going to do great, right? And then I got out there.
Meredith,
yes.
You're an idiot.
I don't know what I was thinking. I got out there and I was like, I have never done that. Like I've been on schedule like just a couple times, and it's usually like a nap. You know what I mean? Like it's nothing like, except that one time. But But like I thought that I was like, I don't know how to sell books relaxed. I can't do it. Like
because you just gotta keep going.
Yeah, I was like, I guess I just have to be completely on schedule and do the whole thing the whole time. Bummer. Also, you're field managing, so you don't want kids to like get a bad example and everything. And especially because I respected Danny and Aisha so much too. They kind of had like separate orgs, but they kind of ran them together. We did Sunday meetings together and stuff. And, I respect them. And I was like, I'm not going to, whatever I can do to help you is what I want to do. So I found out quickly I have to actually do the whole thing. Yeah. And host family in my head, it was like, it's already going to be set up. Literally, I'm just going to drive there the day of sales day number 1 and just roll into my nice house and park it, like, I don't know what I was thinking. So we get there and there's like many host families missing. And I'm like, no. I think I had like trauma from my first summer. Like I was like, that was always my least favorite thing is finding host families.
Oh, and, really?
Oh God.
Oh, I love finding host families.
Found it real stressful. Thank God Danny loves finding host families too. But I call him and I'm like, I've done this forever. I've got 2 first-year roommates, and then the AOL, but I think she was a B or a C. I can't remember. And anyways, they're kind of like, Meredith's got this. Like, she'll get us a house. And I'm like, whoa, this is not what I signed up for.
I didn't come here to babysit.
I came here to make $3,000. And then
all these kids are here for growth and experience and travel and skydiving. I don't give a shit. I need cash.
They're like, what's your emotional purpose? I'm like, I need $3,000.
Money.
This is getting funnier the more you keep talking about it.
Oh God. But I was like, you know, like, it'll be good for me. It'll also be, I'm sure it'll be an experience, right? But anyways, I called Danny and I'm like, dude, I can't. I've followed the leads. I'm not finding anything. Like, and he's like, all right, no problem. I will be there. I'm on my way. And I was like, oh, thank God, right? So Danny's on his way, and he's got a list of like past host families, past people that have bought, whatever, alumni. And we're in the car looking at the list, and I've called a few of them. I've left messages. Of course, no one's called me back. That's how, you know, when I talked about my first summer, that list is how I got my house, right? So I was like, it's gonna work, come on. And Danny and I are looking at it, and we're like, this person's 10 minutes from here. Like, we have the addresses. And he's like, let's just go drive up. And I was like, yes, like, whatever.
Sure. Whatever. Call a host.
Just help me. And we go up in this beautiful neighborhood. It's freaking gorgeous. It's this like colonial house with like 6 windows and the door in the middle and everything. Nice lawn. And we roll up, and Danny's in his chairman's hoodie. And I was like, man, he's like, I'll knock. And I was like, perfect. Like, seriously, you do this, please. I'll just be with you. It's for me. It was a house for me. And, he knocks, and this guy answers, the Glickmans. They both sold books. We know this going in. The husband and wife both sold books for like 5 summers, or like one of them was like 3 summers, one's 5, whatever. Super sweet people. But he opens the door, and he's kind of like this, like in the doorway, and he's like, and Danny's like, hi, you must be Mr. Glickman. And he's like, and then he's like, I just can't do this right now. I'm sorry. And he starts shutting the door, and Danny's like, did you sell with Southwestern Book Company? Like, through the door.
This is cool.
The guy's like, he opens the door again. He's like, he waves us in, and we're sitting at their kitchen island, and they're just kind of like looking at us. We're looking at them, and they're like, so Southwestern, really? Like, wow, cool, yeah, we sold. And eventually they agree to house, you know, us. But I was like, and they were super awesome. Oh my God, it's like, and you know what kills me is like first years roll in, and they're like, oh sweet, and then they just put their stuff down, and they're like, yeah,
we live here now.
Yeah. And it's like, if you had any idea like the stress that goes into like getting this put together.
Like, you don't even know.
Yeah.
This is how much not a scam this is, that I am stressed about it.
Yeah, so they just roll in, and they're like, yeah, this is pretty nice. And I was like, pretty nice? Like, this was like, it had 4 empty bedrooms in it. Like, everyone got their own room.
Jesus.
It was very nice. And 2 alumni host parents that were super cool. I was like, this is very nice, just so you know.
Incredible.
But they were great. I had a lot of fun. Seriously, it was like it was one of those things where even when it sucked, I was like, it's only a couple weeks. I mean,
that is awesome.
Not gonna be.
Oh man. So okay, so you had, because they do the bar is done for the alumni that don't know, because you mentioned Sales Rabbit. There might be alumni that have no idea what the heck that is, that might listen in on this.
I did the bar.
So explain this to us, please.
Sales Rabbit?
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's like if you've ever had like it's like the stats are just, it says like hours, demos, hours, and you just like boop, 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 boop.
Oh my God.
In your phone, and it keeps track forever.
So no fucking pull card?
What?
No gold cards?
I still did gold cards. Yeah, they still do gold cards.
Okay. No go cards?
I would have died if I didn't have a gold card.
Yeah, you need a gold card. That's actually something I have not adopted from my old Southwestern life to now that I probably should.
Right? Yeah. No, I still use it every now and then. That's a skill that I use. I'm just break it down.
Just one at a time.
I might not be able to do this all day, but I can make it till lunch.
So Sales Rabbit, essentially, like, you could just like watch how someone's doing all day if you're watching, because somebody told me
From the manager side. So I never participated in this because when I had Sales Rabbit my 5th summer, I was a pilot group. And I took Jon Stewart's kids out. He did not sell.
Okay.
And he did the overseeing kind of thing. So I was the OL, but I didn't I sold and I did Sunday meetings and all that stuff. But he was kind of trying to prove that Sales Rabbit was a good thing, pretty much. Like, he was the one kind of overseeing the whole thing. And Sales Rabbit's a great thing. It was awesome. But for example, a kid who's like, I just don't know why I'm not doing well. Ooh. And it puts a pin every 10 minutes where you've been.
Oh, I see. So it doesn't
this kid, it doesn't track you like GPS, but like this kid had been in a parking lot for like 4 hours.
Oh, damn.
You can be like, are you okay? Like, what was going on in that parking lot, man? Like, it's probably why you're not doing well, but that's okay. Like, let's talk about it.
Well, so you couldn't be on schedule if you had your iPad on you.
So I think there was a way to disable any like chat. So my iPad was just like, it's like Google Maps, but you can like click on the houses and write notes about them.
Which is kind of also creepy, but amazing.
Yeah, a little creepy, but amazing. I think what's creepier than drawing your own freaking maps, though? Like,
that's true.
What is creepier than that?
You look like a fucking serial killer. You get done and it's like,
I have stacks.
Hey, every single summer, I would double my summer checks by selling my maps to the local pedophiles.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Well, there's the joke of the day.
The joke's on them because those maps were impossible to read if you weren't me.
This is where all the kids are, man, I swear.
Dude, it was revolutionary. Halfway through, I was like, man, I followed Amber Bragg once and she used all these highlighters. Like, she had like the fancy clicky highlighters with all the colors.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, it's gonna be life-changing. And it totally was.
I mean, look at this. There's book kids right now that would not know what the value of a pen this amazing. This is like.
Is that the one with the knob on top that you can kind of chew on?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sit on when you knock on the door, you're just sitting there like this. That is such a thing. Yeah. And you throw it up, you catch it. Oh, you dropped it. Oops, accidentally. And then while you're waiting for mom, you like do one of those. Yeah. Gold.
Yeah.
Incredible. So, but you don't need that now. You just like.
Yeah.
How would you, Meredith? How would you have fun on the book field in the weirdest of fucking ways? Like, what made you different from everybody else?
I'm gonna be honest. I was always envious of those people that had like a ton of fun on the book field. I was like, I just could feel like I put a little too much pressure on myself, I think, to just like be on schedule and like, like do this and do that. But I would usually, here's one thing I always did. This is gonna sound lame compared to some of the stories I've heard from other people, but I would like always accept a cup of coffee. Like, if anyone ever offered me coffee, I'd be like, oh, it's gonna be just an insanely productive day today. Like,
I can imagine where some of those stories might have gone.
Yeah, I would always do super well on days people offered me coffee. So I had fun by doing that. And honestly, if people offered me anything, I would pretty much always say yes. So like, I wasn't like super intense. Like, one of my favorite places I sold was Wisconsin, in the dairy country. And they're so nice. Oh my God. Hardworking people that have money and are super nice. Oh my God. It's just
Amazing.
freaking magical. Like if I could move anywhere, you know, like from where I sold, it was just people were awesome. But anyways, oh God, I got to like milk cows and like mess with baby cows and crap like that. So I pretty much always said yes. If people were like, want to come see this? I'd be like, absolutely. 100%.
The special kind of off schedule, not the mopey kind, but oh my God.
There was that too. Don't get me wrong, but yeah.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah. Sometimes I pass churches these days, and I'm like, man, that looks like a good church parking lot to just park and cry in. But you know, those days are over for me. So.
So when you were, what was the most fun thing? So you said the most fun thing that you did on your off schedule with the family thing. We heard was that Victoria Olas rode horses. Do you do anything crazy like that?
No, I didn't ride horses. I'm like, I feel like I know there was something, but I fed some deer from a friggin' bottle of Sprite. It was like that was a West Virginia story. They like made formula for the deers in their yard and fed them by bottle. It was weird, but
oh. West Virginia people. That holler.
Yeah, that holler.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, so
I just always say to the families that cook for me, like I'd have families be like, "You want some dinner?" I'm like, "Yes," because peanut butter and jellies I'm done with.
My first summer, John Stewart he survived. He didn't buy lunch, I'm pretty sure. He survived purely off of like Mountain Dew, because that's in West Virginia, the only soda that you're offered is Mountain Dew. Fun fact about West Virginia.
Okay.
Mountain Dew and like Twinkies, man. Like, I kid you.
Oh, it's a different country, man.
I think of how creepy it is too to like knock on someone's door and ask them for food. Like if they're not offering, you know.
Yeah. Do you have $1? Steve Bannon was the master of this.
Do you have $1? Oh my God.
You know, he'd be like, I'll give you $1. He'd say, I'll give you $1 for you know, do you have a granola bar I can buy for you for $1 or $2? They're like, well, you can just have it. Like,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The classic.
That's a good one.
That's a classic.
Ours would be like in West Virginia. It was like, hey, I have a contest with my roommates about who can bring home more food, and they would come out with like just like the most processed, like, you know, the zebra cakes and like Swiss cake rolls and Twinkies.
Those little Debbie fudge bars that are just it's just a block of sugar. Oh my God.
Yeah, and Mountain Dew.
That's called becoming married to your territory.
Mountain Dew. Just gross.
Oh my God, that's crazy. I just don't know. When I was in upstate New York, I got like big time food. Like people would just feed me for no reason. I wouldn't even ask. They're like, "Come in, we're having dinner." And you're like, "Okay." So you show the books, like you're just eating some chicken or something. It's like cool families. Families.
Yeah.
Cool times. Did you so then what about the times where you were like crying out schedule? Do you have like a crazy like a story, like a dirt story or whatever, where you like
a dirt story where I like
dirt pile story? Yeah. That's what it was called.
A dirt pile story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a few of those, man. I cried a lot.
Bring them on. Let's hear these.
I was high maintenance and emotional on the book field. So one of them that comes to mind, it's my first year, and I just like, there was a point, it was like week 9, and to this day, like every single summer I ever had, week 8 and week 9 really were just the hardest, because you've been out there for so long and you're not even close to being done and you still had to deliver. And I'm just like, oh God, if I could have sold like 10 weeks every summer, I feel like I would have loved that instead of 12 or 13. Seriously. But anyways, like week 8s or 9s, my first summer, I just like could barely, and you know, also all the things I said earlier, like I knew like my freaking roommate's not even working. Like, what am I even doing?
Half the orgs at the park right now.
Half the orgs at the park.
You've seen it.
Yeah, So I was just like moping around for like an entire week, pretty much. Like, no, I'm the only one working. One of my goals was I hadn't hit like steak at this point. It was 100 units. You say burger, I say steak, but anyway, it's the Eagle Blitz thing. But
oh no, do we? I always knew steak is 100. I don't know.
Steak is 100.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know who says burger. I thought Danny said burger.
I think burger's 200. Or maybe they try to change it. Or maybe they try to change it.
Should be burger 100, steak 200.
Oh, well, if they change it, what an atrocity. I'm insulted.
It's org dependent.
Whatever. You hit 100 units. You were waiting to hit 100 units. Sorry. Yes. Go on.
I'd never done that, and I was just moping, and it was like, I talked to my managers, and they were like, Meredith, just like get out of your car, like just don't sit in your car. That's gonna be your only goal. And I was like, okay, I can do it. And I decided in West Virginia, by the end of it, I had some pretty big houses. Like there were like only single wides or mansions. Like I don't know what these people did. Cole probably, I don't know. Anyway, there was this one street of just like really nice houses that didn't fit in at all. But one of the ones that was never ever home, it was like one of those really gaudy brick homes with like gargoyles and like just iron gates, and I was just like, it's like ridiculous.
Anyway, haunted house.
Yeah, I get out of the car, so I'm like, all I have to do is get out of the car. I don't even care if they say no. I'm just gonna go out of the car. So I go. And I'm just like, hi, I'm selling books. Would you like some? And this lady invites me in, and she's cool. And then I find out that she's like recently widowed. Her daughter was like 17, and she was captain of her cross country team. And I was at the time 19, and I was captain of my cross country team when I was 17. So I was talking to her daughter about, she just like reminded me of myself. And then the mom ended up being super chill. And they had like a 4-year-old and like a 17-year-old. And they ended up buying everything. So that day I hit like over 200, and I hadn't even hit 100, I don't think. And I was like, that was at like 1:00. So I was already over 100 at 1:00. And I was just like, how do I carry on? Yeah. And like, what do I do now? And yeah, it was awesome. So that night on my call, I remember being like, did you get out of the car? And I was like, I got out of the car and I hit 205 units, and it was awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but then, I had a bunch of stuff like that.
We'll take as many as you want to give us. Then what happened? So you sold. What happened after your 5th summer that made you go, all right, I'm gonna move on?
When I started my 5th summer, I was already accepted into PT school. So my goodbye to Southwestern was predetermined. It was already, and the entire time I sold, I had the goal to go to physical therapy school. So I knew physical therapy school was through the summer. And honestly, at that point, I was like, I'm good, but also I can't, like I was like, I've done this enough times, and this is my last time, kind of thing. So my goodbye was very clean and already predetermined. Yeah, smooth.
It's like a poop where you don't have to wipe.
Nice. Yep, smooth.
Nice. I had to. I'm sorry. That was probably.
And I know that's not always the case. I'm really thankful that's the way it was.
Yeah.
So you're going back for some more, but in by way of houses. Is this something that you're able to talk about right now, this next chapter in your life?
Sure. I am in the middle of getting my real estate license, so I think that's going to be fun. I'm studying for the final exam. I finished reading the whole like prep book and everything. I did not miss studying. I've had a 1.5 years off of studying pretty much. Yeah. And I'm like, oh God.
This is awful.
I miss sales a lot. I think about it all the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's hard to get out. Are you gonna like sell houses to then become massage parlors or something?
Oh.
How do you hope, I don't know. How do you hope to involve your PT? I don't know.
How do you link those together? Good question, man. Good question. I think it's all a big question mark. What's cool about PT is that there's a lot of different ways to work it. There's part-time. There's also PRN, which means as needed. So you can just like work when you want, kind of thing. What I don't like about PT as much is that I can't decide my own schedule. I'm working for somebody else, et cetera, et cetera. So I definitely miss like the goal setting and like feeling like I accomplished something like with that sales provides, right? So my plan is to start off getting a little bit of that through real estate, because I also love like houses. That's what I did in my spare time. I was basically already like analyzing the housing market, and John's like, you miss sales and you do this all the time, why don't you just do this like all the time? And I was like, well, maybe I will. So yeah, I don't know if at the same time my heart, like, and part of my identity I think is kind of in physical therapy, so it'll be interesting to see how they kind of commingle and like shake out in the end. But it's nice to have a couple things going on for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. This is something we've been asking people. Could you talk about like maybe a couple more valuable skills out of all the many that you could gain from Southwestern that you like really still maybe use today, or that really help you? And then also maybe some that you didn't expect to find. Like, for example, I always talk about how I found out how the kind of dad I wanted to be someday, where like like the stark differences and it was something that I was not expecting to learn in my Southwestern experience. Do you have any of those that you want to share?
Yeah. So the first thing was things I didn't expect, or the second thing is things I didn't expect to learn. And what was the first thing again? Like
the ones that you did expect to learn, but of all the ones, like maybe how to set goals, crystallize goals, or maybe like whatever. Yeah. The ones that you expected, but really like still really influenced you.
I think from recruiting, I learned that like you are going to use whatever time you dedicate to whatever it is, whatever you like to actually schedule, you're going to do, and you're going to like be able to fit those things in. If you schedule nothing, you'll feel busy all day, but like nothing will get done, kind of thing. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
So it's almost like the more busy you get, the more organized you get, kind of thing.
Right. To manage.
Yeah. Time management. Right. Exactly. So I definitely carried that. Goal setting for sure. Just realizing that if you write something down, you're way more likely to get it done. Like going along with the scheduling thing. It's like, if you just say like, oh, like for example, now it's like, I'd like to invest in properties. Like I'd like to do a couple different things. I'm like, I gotta write this stuff down and like do the math and figure this out. And I'm not doing as well as I used to, but yeah, I'm getting back to it. But anyway, that's one of those skills that's just like, I know if I don't write it down, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
So there's that for sure. Honestly, like the delivery process of just like listening to someone complain and then repeating their complaint, being like, that's why you're mad, right? Is there anything else? And then just like
screwing them.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it was. It's like, I can't remember the freaking terminology. And yeah, I mean, that's such a good life skill too. Wow, like incredible.
Was it calm, resell,
redemo? Yeah, redemo. Explain your situation, work out a way.
Explain your situation, work out a way. Yeah. It's brilliant.
Just awesome. Yeah. So that was incredible too. But I learned a lot about myself too, and just my personality and things I need to feel like, you know, things that like check off my boxes of like fulfillment and whatnot. It's like a lot of things from Southwestern did that, even though a lot of things in Southwestern were really hard or like weren't pleasant at all, or you know.
We'll get into those.
Sure. Things I didn't expect. I think the intangible, like whenever anyone calls me like a prospective first year or whatever, and they're like asking me questions, I'm like, I don't know how to explain to you what skills you're going to get out of this. I think you're just going to be like, it's intangible skills. Like it's intangible, just kind of communication skills with people, treating everyone like a human being, not like a parent or like a professor or like a whatever. It's like, you just talk to everyone like a human being.
Yes.
Yeah, like you learn that you're gonna be okay. Like,
Yep.
even if shit hits the fan, like you're gonna be okay. Things are gonna work out, and you know that because it's looked horrible before and then worked out because you have that experience, right?
Yeah.
So you're less afraid of it, and things like that. That's stuff I didn't expect to like take with me, but it's like invaluable, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll work out because if it doesn't, you die, right? Like
Right, exactly. Like, what are you gonna do?
It's not gonna kill you, so or it's not likely to kill you,
Like,
so it's for sure gonna work out. Like, if it doesn't work out, you're dead. That's the ultimate didn't work out, right?
Sure. And like the control the controllables thing is like revolutionary, man. No, but seriously, it's it's just I was so high strung. I was like, how can I control every situation ever? And it's like, you can't. Just chill out. Just do what you can, you know. And yeah, those are some of my favorites. My
That's
favorite
wild.
things to cook. Yeah.
What about backing out of a driveway? Did you was that new?
Damn, I'm good. Yeah, I'm super
You're
good.
not-
We're talking no backup camera. We're talking super low car to the ground. I had a Honda Civic, and the Honda Civic Hybrid, which I had, is extra close to the ground because it's supposed to like create a vacuum with the roads that you don't waste gas and blah blah blah. This was like 2009, so they weren't very good at it yet, and it was just on the bottom of the car every time you didn't like maneuver it perfectly.
Yeah.
I learned how to drive. Yeah, I had to take out my owner's manual my first
That's
summer. I was like, actually, in West Virginia, the hills are legit, and I had a hybrid from 2009, and this thing couldn't make it. Like, it couldn't get up a hill. I actually went backwards like a couple times. So I got really.
How did you deliver in that?
I got really scared of it was rough. I got scared of like all the driveways were like switchback and they were all like this too. So I was like,
Straight up hills. Oh.
I would just like park at the bottom and walk up.
Imagine walking all of that summer.
In the turf I had, that would not have been possible.
It would have been insane. Yeah, my first summer I was in the sticks too. It was crazy. I didn't have giant hills, but we had some like spread out country. Really crazy.
Yeah.
A lot of dairy cows too, which is different because I was used to seeing, cattle in Nebraska. So like that was always a really cool way to talk to people, and they'd always like connect with you really fast. So you say Nebraska, and they're like, "Oh, cows," and I'm like, "Yeah, we can make some
cows. Like, you like cows? We have cows."
In fact, I can make the best moo you've ever heard a human being make. I got to sail this way. I was like, and then they were like, "Yep, we'll buy some." Like legit, I had to like round up some cattle, and that's what I did. The Kevin Johnson story, very similar, very similar.
Yeah. Florida was always Disney World. It's like, have you been to Disney? And they were like, we've been saving for 10 years. And I'm like, don't.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Look for a nicer house. Do that.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's hilarious.
It was always that Disney conversation.
Oh man.
For sure.
My question then is, let's chat about some of the harder parts of Southwestern, the more challenging ones that that were, and maybe they're not. I found that a lot of the things that I thought were not perfect about Southwestern have been kind of like fixed, and there's like new problems now that are healthier.
Sure.
Per se.
That's probably true. It probably just it's like an evolution.
Yeah, but at the time where I was selling books, there was some stuff that I was like, oh man, that's brutal. Or just like about selling books.
The host family problem still exists.
Yes. Yeah.
So stressful.
Book kids are not the nicest people to their host families for the most part, I feel like.
Oh my God, they suck, man. They don't know how to say thank you. I don't know if it's just like college kids in general or what. It probably is, because at that point they're not even book kids, right? They're like just
the fact that
right. I'm like,
the fact that host families are a problem should demonstrate that.
Right. That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Because they shouldn't be. Think about it. Think about the people who sold, like when you're selling over someone who sold a lot of books. You ever have that happen?
Actually,
Oh, you've never had that happen? Okay, when I was selling over like,
sold over people who did poorly.
I mean, in New England, there's people that remembered Matt Atchison in some of the towns, or something like.
Hey, my name's Matt.
Yeah, and he was awesome.
I don't care if you sell a carrot out of your lunchbox.
Yeah.
Here on the floor of Yvette's office.
Aloha. This is Matthew.
I feel like a pimp because I know that I am.
The best advanced
Great.
sales.
Well, we can get into your favorite advanced sales in a second. That's actually Nick, write that down. That's a good question. But what I'm saying is,
I'm driving. You write that down.
You write it down. I'm driving.
I was just saying that when you sell over people like that, the people remember that person pleasantly.
Sure.
And so that if book kids were good with host families, it would be a pleasure for those host families.
Sure. They'd be like, come on in. Yeah.
Because my parents hosted my second summer and we hooked it up for them. It was Madis Pajo. I don't know if you know who he is, but his wife. Well, no, it was him. His wife is the one that like broke the record for the most profitable summer. A couple summers, she was insane, like crazy awesome.
I think I was still selling when that happened.
Yeah, she was awesome, and he was like a 10,000 year, or he was super good. They're awesome. So they stayed with my parents, or not her. He and then his kid, but they were awesome. My parents loved them, and so they were like, "Oh, we'll host book kids forever." And so then my mom kept hosting them. And some of the ones she got almost made her like not want to host again because she had some people that were like just super rude or like super messy, or just intrusive, like they would eat her food and just like not pay for it. And it's like,
why is that okay? Like, just because you're doing this job does not mean you can do that. You still have to be like a human being.
It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy how, and that goes to show because nobody wants to host it again. Like, you have to find host families every time. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. So anyway, that would be, if that was different, I think. I don't know. At the same time, it's like, gosh, I met such cool people, Yeah. The other story I'm thinking of, I was first time at OL, I had 5 roommates. You kidding me? I don't know who set that up. It was me. I set that up.
We'll find a host family that can host 6 book kids.
I was like, it's fine, yeah. And we were like at our wits' end, and someone was like, go to the homeless shelter, and it's like a homeless women's shelter, and I was like offended. I was like, we're not homeless. I'm like, well, we kind of are homeless. So I was just at the point where I was like, man, I guess we'll go to this homeless shelter because we'll just ask for leads. We'll ask for leads. We're not staying there. I swear. We'll stay in a hotel if we need to. We're not staying in a homeless shelter. And we went in there, and the lady who like ran the homeless shelter was like, how many people? And I was like, it was a total of 5. So I was like 5 females. And she was like, okay, well, just ask my husband, and I should have some space. And I was like the lady at the front desk.
Oh, shit.
I was like, what? That's the only host family I like successfully.
That's crazy. You were about to stay at a homeless women's shelter, and then you got bailed out.
And she goes, let me ask my husband, come back in 30 minutes. And I was like, yeah, I've heard that before.
I'm used to this, Tammy.
And I was like, but because I don't have any other leads, I'm going to come back in a half an hour. And she shouted out the window. A half hour later, we pulled up. She shouted out the window, yeah, we're good. Come by at 6. And then shut the window. And I was like,
that's hilarious.
No way.
Yeah.
That's wild. Okay. So hang on. Okay.
Well, anyway, you wouldn't have stories like that without a host family situation. But,
that's true. Somebody else said the schedule was something that they could probably fix.
I feel like it's a little bit excessive. I'm not going to lie. Part of me is like, if it wasn't that way, would you feel like as badass about it? Probably, if they framed it that way. You know what I mean?
Well,
why not start at 9 and end when it gets dark?
That's okay. Oh my gosh. I've said this forever. I've said this forever. And in my opinion,
who is comfortable knocking in the dark? If you have an appointment, good on you, man.
Yes.
But you should not be encouraged to knock on a stranger's door in the dark, for your own safety.
Yeah. In the country.
Yeah.
Oh, so here's the thing. Because people say, well, then people are going to be off schedule because they're already off schedule. I'm like, no. the people that are going to kick ass in the summer are going to find ways to set appointments late in the evening, knowing fully
Because they're
well
gonna,
that
yeah, they're gonna realize like that's when it goes down, you know.
100%. And the people then that are like, because there's like two, maybe three kind of people that go sell books. There's like the kids that are like, I'm here to be number one. I'm gonna make 50 grand. I'm gonna sell all the units. Right.
Yeah.
And they're sharp and they're like, you meet 5 or 6 of them where you're like, all right, these kids are gonna be awesome. And then there's like the kid that's like, I'm good, I'm sharp, I'm like a good kid, and I want to challenge myself and I want to grow and I want to do more and I just want to like really like be myself and like that. And then there's like the other kind of person that's like never succeeded, never been like the popular kid, but that really needs to go sell books, and they realize that about themselves. They have a good manager that makes them believe in themselves, and then they go.
Yeah.
That kid though should not be knocking day 2 after following. So first day of them, they're on at 9:30 in the middle of nowhere. You know what I'm saying?
Rough.
Not that kid.
So
The other kid, yes, but this kid, dude, go home.
Yeah, like when you have like, let's be real, like there's always like the one kid in the org that's just like, is he gonna make it? He's very awkward. And
that was the DA that was signed. You
sometimes-
needed the 10th person on your team to hit the goal that you needed. You needed that, or you needed to hit like the whatever bonus so you could win the air from Mark Rao. So you're like, oh, there's the DA, and the kid's like, okay.
You're just thinking of this kid going up to the door and being like, and I'm like, I can't compute. You know what I mean? I can't. So you're actually, night knocking was always the hardest thing for me. From the very first minute, I think in my first summer, I would just pick an abandoned house that I would knock on at 9:30 and like call it, unless I was already in a house. Like I just couldn't do it. Like I just felt, I wasn't scared for my safety. I was just so uncomfortable. I don't know how else to like.
Oh,
and, granted, here's a counter story to that is my best week ever. I would. And like I was an OL too. I was an OL. I was a good B manager. Like I would.
I think I called you after that week.
Yeah. Well, I followed the rules as best as I could, right? Especially if I had someone following me, and I usually did. And I would really, really, really try to squeak out like a 9:26 knock, and then just linger if it wasn't going to be like an appointment. You know what I mean? Like I would just be like, I can do this. But it was not like a, effortless thing. It was always like an anxiety that I had. Like, what am I going to do when it gets to 9:20 and like this person's following? Usually I would drop them off. I would just say, you've seen enough, see you later. You don't need to be here till 10:30. So bye.
Yeah.
And I would still, sometimes I'd have appointments and sometimes I wouldn't, but my best week ever, my only goal was to legitimately knock past 9:31. That was my only goal. And I hit like 950 units or something. So,
well, there it is.
But and that said, like, I wouldn't like quit at 8, but it would be like, like if it was 9:20 and I didn't have an appointment, I'd be like, I'm good. And I wouldn't lie either. I'd just be like, quit it, stop at 9:20. It's fine.
Well, and I think it was Mark Rao that said that was like, if you worked 14 hours, hit steak, or got 30 demos, you got 2 of the 3, go home.
Oh, that's a good one.
I thought that was a pretty good way.
Now that you're saying it, I remember him saying that, but I never ever like thought about that.
My third summer I was way off schedule. My second summer I wasn't ever off schedule, but I did drop, and I dropped because I learned that if I could set an appointment for 9, then that means that I would get out of that house out like by the time it was all said and done. And if I just stuck around a little longer, I did the system by like sitting down at like 8:59 and then making the demo and the sit down go way long.
Yeah.
But that helped me because I totally had the purpose for knocking on the house was not to get a sale, but to just get it to get past
to 9:30.
And so my buying atmosphere was solid.
So you usually sold that house.
Yeah. And so it literally like I was like, it became a sit down. Yeah. And it became a sale, like big sale too. They would get like so I always would end up like hitting steak just like at 9:35. It was good. Yeah.
It's amazing. But yeah, a lot of my like anxious feelings came from like, I need to work until 9:30. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
Even the week I did really well, I was like, dang it, like, how am I going to make this work? I would usually just drive around until I saw somebody in the yard. And then that's how I kind of remedied that situation.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Huh.
I would just drive around until I found someone in the yard. Didn't matter if I'd ever met them. Didn't matter if they were old. I'd try it. I mean, if they had kids outside, I'd like go to that house. But yeah, I was not a big night knocker. Some people are.
Yeah, and it's if you got good at setting appointments, that was brilliant. And I think that's the trick. You should be able to set appointments. But like another thing that was really sketchy was like early morning Saturday knocking.
Yeah.
Oh, the
when
hardest.
No one's getting ready for school.
What's that?
No one's getting redy for school. Like
yeah.
No one's
yeah, exactly. Everyone's asleep, and you're waking up people who wanted to sleep in Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And the rudest people I've ever gotten yelled at, like before they yell at you.
Are you kidding?
Always went Saturday mornings. That was crazy.
One thing I'll say about Sales Rabbit. Now, picture this. You can like zoom all the way out to your entire turf, right? You've got your whole turf there. And as I went, like you can mark the house and say 7. Like I would just start to ask people, like, is it okay if I come early, like really early, like 6 a.m? And they would just be like, yeah, I mean, we're up, but if you want to actually do that. So I'd show up at like, 7:45 or whatever. Yeah. And with Sales Rabbit, you could filter. So you can filter to only have people that are okay with you coming super early. And then you could hit the house and get directions. It was ridiculous.
Well, yeah, because Steve taught me that you had like the little notebook apart where you would write down those people's names.
Yeah, Sales Rabbit makes it way
on the map, on the page. Yeah, there was like a whole correlation.
Even if you like had a family, you could be like, do you have any family members in this area that might want to talk with me? And then you could even mark off like this guy, like that's way across the county that you'll eventually get to. And then when you get there, you're like, oh, hey, I remember him. And you've got like his family.
The map has been unlocked and you're ready to knock.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Like that, it changes the whole game. It really does. If you're smart about it, it's just,
yeah. Well, no wonder. Like, how are these kids not selling a shit ton of books? That's crazy.
Because people are more suspicious. That's my thing. But I was also in Massachusetts, which is just totally different. So I don't know. I can't tell if it was just different people or if it was like the times.
I don't know, man. I mean, because who was it? The Europeans, they start at 9. They knock at 9. They start knocking at 9.
Yeah. I heard about that. I was like, that sounds pleasant.
And I think they still get up at 6, but they just get like a little extra time to kind of get their shit together.
Yeah.
Organize their business. Because that's actually one thing that Southwestern didn't teach me. And they taught me how to work to run a business, but it never really taught me like that. Like I didn't know what an LLC was after, how do I not know what an LLC is if you're working a business?
I heard Grant Greer was like the bomb at this. Like he is really good about money. He teaches his kids about money.
Yeah.
Down in Florida, it was like, you have money, do whatever you want with it. Go party, do whatever, go travel, go do stuff. And I'm thankful that I traveled, but like I ended my 5 years with no savings. I paid for college, but I was just, and I had fun. I did some really cool stuff, but like I think that was very kind of division dependent, depending on your leader.
Right.
And,
well, I mean, Grant led by example with that stuff. And
yeah, exactly.
But like, not everyone listened. I mean, people, people still like, well, not even that, not even like the money handling part, but I'm talking about just like, I never got to explain how or why really the taxes worked until like,
sure.
You know what I'm saying? Until a couple summers later or whatever. Right. I also never just like figured out I was
like, wait, how does the money work?
Yeah.
Like my second summer, I did great. And I also paid like $1,000 in credit card, like fees or whatever.
Yes, for example.
And I just didn't know. Like yes. I would have asked for a check.
No, they never talked about that. And I'm not saying that it was intentional, like left out.
Sure. There's a lot to teach. There's a lot to teach. And something, I mean, those are a couple things that I had to figure out. So like when I had kids, not had kids, but like, OL'd. When I OL'd, I'd be like, And here's a great example. This is my funniest OL moment. The worst and funniest OL moment. I loved OLing. It was my favorite part of the entire business. I just had such a good time. I didn't even care if I didn't recruit any of them. Like I just liked
managing people.
Yeah, it was fun. And this kid, the 10th kid, the awkward kid, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
the one who's had the cops called on him every single day.
The one that starts the PR problems for the whole org.
And you just pretty much are like, just go follow so-and-so so that you can not be in jail or, get called, I can't imagine going through that. But anyways, I felt bad, but I was like, it's gotta be something you're doing. Anyways, this kid, he comes up to me. It's, what was it? The end of the summer. So it's the end of the summer. It's not quite delivery week. That's like next week. And I had it pretty organized by this time because I OL'd like 3 or 4 times. And I was like, we're good. We're good to go. He comes up and he's like, well, my last day is actually this. And I was like, that is not what I have like in my records. Like you did not tell me that. And he's like, well, I have to have this and that. And I was like, okay, I guess we'll do delivery school on Wednesday. I was just like, he's like, I have to get back for like mock trial, or it was a legitimate thing. I can't remember. Anyways, he goes to me. He's got a stack of checks this freaking big. This kid did pretty well. He probably like hit Sizzler. He did pretty well. He goes to me, oh no. Now that I'm saying this too, I'm realizing this isn't the awkward kid. This is a kid that did pretty well. That's why it was so surprising. He's like, so what do I do with all these checks?
Oh no.
And I was like,
Can't deposit any of them?
Cat, run away. Leave the
Checks.
community.
I was like, what? I was just like, how did this fall through the cracks? How did this fall through the cracks? And I got his manager who was living with him and I was like, are you aware that your first year that you recruited has never deposited a check before? Like he's just collecting all these checks like for 10 weeks.
For anything all summer.
What?
Yeah, how do you eat?
Don't know. You know how, because I went into the summer every summer with no money. Like I was like, let's go make some money. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm like, motivation is I have to make money to survive. So yeah, I guess this kid had some savings. I don't know. And I was like,
wow.
It's that moment where I was like, I'm not even sure. I don't even know what to tell. So our solution was you're gonna have to go deliver these books. He said it was a nice-ish area. He accidentally started in the rich area. And another thing that I was like, what the hell? But that's probably my bad, right?
That's wild.
But I was like, you're gonna need to just go deliver these books and bring the check with you and just say, hey, I'm so sorry, I never cashed it, and just hope for the best kind of thing. Like I was like, you can't cash these checks. Like it's been 10 weeks. I mean, you could, I guess. I don't know.
And you're leaving next week.
And you're leaving next week.
Like it'd be different if it'd been 5 weeks. And they're still, or if it was week 10, but you guys were there for 14, or it's like, all right, deposit it.
And we had to talk. We had to get a separate bank account, deposit all your checks, don't commingle your money, don't have your own person, keep your stuff separate, keep your business account. And it just whoosh, it just didn't. And I'll just never forget that moment of what do I do with all these checks?
Oh my gosh. Wow. Did you know how many of them
He
bounced?
did okay. He did okay. Yeah, it worked out. It was a nice area. And
I'm not sure.
What's up, Nick?
I've been cutting in and out. I was just asking if there were any other stories of holy shit moments with first years as being an OL.
I feel like it happened all the time. I think most of them were how surprised I was at the PR, just really bad PR. And I'm like, how does this happen? And I got a little taste of it my cameo 6th summer, right? And I it was just, that was
New
not
England.
controllable. Like that was just, it just was, you know. But I think these kids, like the ones that had a ton of trouble, it would just be just they were awkward and they didn't know the job and they didn't know the sales talk and they weren't there yet. Like they were still figuring it out and people
You
just
didn't have the
like,
social awareness.
give them a chance, yeah, to figure it out. Like if someone's like yelling at you to get off their lawn, like don't give them a card, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just leave.
Yeah. That's exactly right.
Just like,
Don't second approach that guy that has.
God, just stuff like that where it's like, yeah.
Or like that they would get a sit down, but they didn't recognize that person was totally not interested, and so they would spend so much. It's like, dude, if you just were able to recognize.
I had a really cute moment. One of my like favorite recruits ever. His name's Henry Wynn. Coolest kid. And,
I know Henry. I worked with him.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's such a hard worker. His first summer, he kept he's a walker. I recruited my senior year. I recruited 2 male freshman walkers, and I was like, I have nothing in common with these people. They ended up being very good friends, and like I had a hard recruitment year, and anyways, it ended up working out. But anyways, this kid's like, yeah, I don't know. I'm just like, he's got like 300 demos a day, like it's just. And I'm like, what? And like zeros out for like 3 weeks kind of thing. And I'm like, dude, I've never zeroed, you know, like I'm just like trying to figure out how to like wrap my head around it. And I remember him being like, well, I mean, I was like, tell me about your day. Like, what's your day look like? Like, show me your map and just walk me through where you began and where you end. And it turned out he was, this was his first summer. He's like, well, I go and take a break. Like I take some breaks at the laundromat because the people there are really nice. And I was just like, okay. He's just like, I was like, how long are these breaks, man? Like, how many times do you go to the laundromat? And that was another like, holy shit. This kid's been to the laundromat for like 7 hours of his 13-hour day. I was like, Henry, don't go to the laundromat, man. Like, just tomorrow, that's your only goal. Don't go to the laundromat. And he was like, okay. I think he had steak the next day. I'm not even kidding. I was like, he'd zeroed for like 3 weeks. I was like, oh, but just like real simple things like that. I think I was always blown away by like, yeah, like the kids who like went to jail. Like I just didn't have
that PR
experience. Yeah, I just was like, I don't know, but if that were me, I would be devastated. Like I think it would really, really affect me a lot.
Did you ever get kicked out of a town?
No.
You never got kicked out of a town?
I never got kicked out of a town. No.
Oh, dude. Wow.
No, I think I had it easy in that way, for sure.
Oh, wow.
So I admired, like, I respected the struggle of when that happened to people. But I think those were most of my, like, holy shit moments where I was like, I'm not even sure what to tell you because I've only seen this happen. You know, it's never. I
didn't get kicked out of a town until my second summer, and it rocked me. That's actually, I think, where the beginning of the end was.
It's rough, man.
It's
right.
If
someone said something mean people would say stuff on Facebook about me, but it never got serious. It never got like police serious, you know.
I just got called to I just never got in trouble. I've never gotten in trouble with the cops, you know. Like Dude. And as a Hispanic dude, I've never liked the cops in high school. Sure. I had a bad experience with cops, just kind of whatever. And so of the climate now it's even crazier, but I got kicked my second summer, second day in Massachusetts. Fuck Massachusetts. And I was having to sit down with mom on our porch, and this cop drives up and he walks up to us and he's like, you gotta come to the station with me. And like, that freaking ruins everything. And I got told that if I got called in again that I was going to jail.
Wow.
I was like, damn it. So I had to like move town because like I was going to knock them out.
Damn.
But that really rocked me. That was for sure.
Absolutely. That's a lot for like a college kid to go through too, especially when you're just out there like doing your best, you know. So it rocked my world to watch like people in my org that I was managing like go through it. You know, I was just like, shit. That's hard, man. I don't know what to tell you. That's really hard. Like let's move you.
And like
And like I met asshole police chiefs, but that was different. Like there's a difference between like going and checking into a town and the police chief's kind of an ass. You're like, whatever, dude.
Do you know Alex Black?
Alex, yes.
He lives in Gainesville with his
Yes,
wife.
yes.
He was on my first team, like as a first year. We're still very close. He comes over with his wife all the time, and we have dinner. And he's got the best stories. He'd be a fun one for you to call, actually.
I gotta get Alex Black on here. I haven't talked to him in a
now
while.
I'm like, should I even tell the story? I'll tell like a brief version of it in case you get him on here. Okay. He'd have some fun stuff though. He's just hilarious, ridiculous book stories that I'm like, why didn't this ever happen to me? And anyways, he did have our first summer, he had some guy, like he knocked on this guy's door. The guy was like, what are you doing? And like Alex demoed him, whatever, like good first year. And then he's like, I don't have any kids. And he walked away. This dude then started knocking door to door saying he was Alex Black and that he was selling children's books.
Oh shit.
Yeah, like this dude was an actual like creepo sex offender guy. And Alex got like tackled to the pavement. So they like, he's like out there doing his thing in West Virginia. And like the police come and like, yeah, just like tackle him to the pavement. And they're just like, who are you? And he's like, I'm Alex Black. I'm just selling books. And they're like, yeah, sure you are. We heard all about you. There's like legitimate sex offender like posing as him, which is just insane. And I'll never forget this part of the story. He's like in the cop car like this with his fanny pack, and they're like, where's your ID, man? He's like, it's in my fanny. He's like, just grab it. And just ridiculousnay. They took him to jail. He called Southwestern and they're like, oh, it's been a huge mistake. We're sorry. They like made an announcement about it.
I need to do that. Oh, you know what? Someone told me that they did. I was like, that's a fucking genius thing. I was just talking to Naomi Kaufman. She's still selling books. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Naomi. She listens to the podcast. And she was telling me that she started doing, I don't know who started, I think it was her or whatever. I don't know. Whatever. The point is they have the police department post a picture of them on their Facebook page.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why didn't we ever do that? Nobody ever told me to do
just like an ID photo even. Just like
have the police department say, hey, this person's gonna be coming around. Yeah. If not, smart. Just because and they're glad to do it because it saves them a bunch of freaking phone calls.
Absolutely. So things have come a long way. Like they figured out some of our dumb problems we had.
Yeah. And shout out to Southwestern for that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so I think we're getting ready for the pony story, or either like a big one or a couple of funny ones, whatever you want to share.
Okay.
I'm ready for these. Let's do this.
Okay, so I'll share two, and what's funny is they're both kind of the same theme. Neither of them are production, but so the first one is my last summer, my cameo 6th summer, 2019. And I'd had like a crap first week. Again, bad PR. Everyone that did buy canceled. I was like, what am I even here for? Like, And then I kind of got my head out of my butt week number 2 and was like, okay, week 3. And then I was always like a high customer, lower package salesperson kind of thing. So I'd had like 12 customers, 10 customers, which was not the way I ever sold. So week 3, I kind of like got back to my like normal. So I had like 29 customers and I was like feeling really good. I was like, I feel like it's just way more fun to sell 7 people in a day than even if they buy like Mufu than it is to sell 2, But I was kind of at that point and I never, ever met an alumni ever.
Oh.
Not once ever on the field. Ever.
I don't think I ever did.
No. So I come up to his house and it's my last day. And I know it's my last day. And I think I have someone following me. And I was like, yeah, I'm Meredith. I'm with Southwestern. And he's just like, no shit. And I'm like, no, it's his wife. She was like, no way. Like my husband did that. And I was like, no way. I got to meet him like immediately. This beautiful house. Like, she brings me in. He's there. He's just like, hey, we start talking. And I was like, you're my first alumni I've ever met in 6 years. Like, he only sold one summer. And he sold one summer. He used the money to buy an engagement ring for his wife. And then they got married, and he like
awesome.
his life. And he totally didn't get the like, you know, like, it's been 6 years. I've never met an alumni, you know.
He was not shocked.
He was just, he was like, I didn't have that experience. He just did it one time. But he was like, yeah, Southwestern, it was awesome. Like, you know, like, it was funny. He's like asking people for water and like snacks, right? And I'm just like, I'm like, yeah. He's like, I mean, I think I like brought home all the books, like I've got them all, but I just can't believe you're here. And I was just like, damn, for like my last day selling books ever.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
my first alumni. And he was awesome. Like, it was just a really sweet story.
That was straight up your last day. Wow.
My last day ever. And he was a super successful tech, like, dude in Massachusetts. So he was doing really well for himself.
Yeah.
And he was still with the same lady and everything. Anyway, it was really cool.
That's awesome.
Then,
that's so cool.
Next day, you know how you like tell people, they're like, can I just get your card? I don't know. Like, basically they say no. And then like, can I just get a card? And I used to, years ago, I would just be like, no, it's cool. Just like look me up on Facebook. You'll find me if you, and I know they never will, kind of thing. And I was just like, yeah, here's my email. And I gave my email. And these people are different. They're analytical and they do research and they think about it. And like, I think I went to the Sunday meeting the next day after my last day. And this is my actual last customer ever. But I got an email from him and he's like, I'd like to purchase the CEA. And I was like, all right. I was like, no shit. So on my way home to Florida, like I just stopped by his house and he bought a CEA for his daughter. He's like, I've done my research. It's, you know, print review is great. And I just want to make sure like how the formatting was and everything. And I was like, cool. What do you do? And he said, I work for a big tech company. And I was like, shocker. And he's like, what do you do? And I said, I'm actually, I have my doctorate in physical therapy, but I'm just here for a couple of weeks.
Selling kids books. Oh, man.
And he's like, no way. So you went to a DPT program, which one? And I was like, University of Florida. And he's like, yeah, I wrote the tech for like the whole application process. And I was like,
Whoa.
get out of here. Like, I was just like, oh, that's so cool. He's like, yeah, I'm like the one who sets everything up on PT-CAS where you can like send out your application.
That's
out
so
school.
awesome.
And I was like, oh, cool. So that was my last 2 experiences in selling books, which was awesome.
Very memorable.
Yeah, very magical. It was memorable and magical. And I was like, thanks, Bookfield. Like, it was a real crappy like week and a half. And then it was a real fun 1 week.
Yeah.
Production wise. And then it ended perfect, you know. It was cool. And then I was like, well, too bad I just picked up and now I have to go because I could actually make some money if I stayed. But I already had a job. Like I had a PT job and I was already late kind of thing. The last one is a similar kind of
The last one.
The last one, yeah. Similar kind of theme was my first summer, my last customer, right? I had 450 customers, and to bring this podcast full circle, I couldn't find them because I was bad at mapping.
Yes.
I didn't have a GPS. I didn't have Sales Rabbit. I had like my week 1 and 2 handwritten maps were atrocious. It was just like a line and a box and like nothing. And there was,
I know a guy you can sell those to.
yes, there was this freaking one. I was like, actually at the end of the summer, it was week 13 and I was like, I went to my manager. I was like, dude, I'm pissed off. This company sucks. This is not what I signed up for. I want to go home. Why am I still here? You said 12 weeks. Just boom. And then I went to that dinner where you were at, Andres. No, but
more dinner.
yeah. And I had just ridiculous amounts of, like, it would have taken me another 3 weeks to deliver these 450 people in the radius that I had. So my manager helped me deliver my books. I was like, I can't stay longer. I refuse to be late for like first day of school. Like, you're gonna have to help me, or I'm just gonna leave right now. Like, and it's just leave it.
But like,
I had no idea I did well. Like, honestly,
oh really?
I didn't have a clue. I didn't follow any of it. And my deliveries were so hard. Like, so many people backed out that I was like, it's all for nothing. Like, nobody even came through, kind of thing.
Oh.
But I ended up finding out that I did great on the first summer when I checked out, because I was really terrible at bookkeeping.
$2,000 or something.
I was bad at bookkeeping, so like you said earlier. But yeah, so I had these families I couldn't find. My manager was like, he took like, I don't know, 50 of the customers to try to deliver them after I left, kind of thing. But my last one, I was like, man, God, I cannot find that. The name was like Marjorie, like an old person. And I was like, what old person? And then it was like 10:30 at night. And I was like, I just want to go home. I just want to go home. And I roll into this gas station and I'm like, I'm just going to grab a Diet Coke and like just sit for a minute, because I just have these books I need to deliver and it's the only thing standing between me and going home. I walk into the gas station, grab Diet Coke, and I go to the freaking front counter, and there's freaking Marjorie right there. She works at the gas station.
Meredith, did you sell her at her home or at that gas station?
I sold her at the gas station, and I completely forgot. Like, her address was like way far away. I drove to the house. I was like, I've never even been here before. No one was home. I come back, I'm exhausted. I think I had called my mom and was like, I'm so tired. And she's like, you're almost done. And I go in there and there's freaking Marjorie working at the gas station. And I was like, oh my God.
And we're done here. All right. See,
grabbed her books, gave it to her. I was like,
that's the summer.
Man. And then I went to that dinner the very next day.
Yeah, at Dan Morehouse. I think that's what I met you.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, most of my pony stories felt like that. Like, they were just like, thanks God.
Dude, shout out.
Hell yeah.
Shout out.
That is so freaking funny.
Yeah.
Dude, that's a good story.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It's kind of reminds you of the power of the book field and shit like that happens, and you're like, where else in the world would this have happened?
Just
like,
never would. It's incredible.
That's the thing. And that's actually, I think, something that's, well, I guess I don't really know how often like other companies that go door to door deliver 12 months later, because like everyone else does it for full-time jobs, so like the deliveries aren't like all in like 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's the only company that I know of that they sell for a while and then, you know,
and then deliver.
Yeah, so that's what I think what makes it unique versus other people. So, but that's a good way to end. That's a good way to end the episode. That's a good way to bring this full circle.
Absolutely.
Dude, Meredith, well, first of all,
thank you for your time.
Thanks for being on here.
Super fun. Great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we'll have to share this to YouTube. It's been live on the page. And then as far as like any announcements, I think on Thursday, I'm gonna do a podcast with my roommates for my first summer. So it'll be like a special edition episode with Steve Fedden and Josh Martinez.
New Year's Eve, baby.
Cool.
New Year's
What
Eve.
time?
Awesome.
And it's gonna be on 4 o'clock. That's actually gonna be tentatively, that could be moved in the afternoon, earlier or later. But anyway.
4 o'clock Central, Eastern,
Central, yeah.
Mountain.
Central. And then we have Anthony Conroy. Is that it? Or who do we have? Let me pull up the schedule. Sorry, we
Anthony
did this.
Conroy.
Yep, and then Mr. Anderson, Larry Anderson, Elliot Cohen, they're all coming up. We also have, not committed to a time yet, but committed to doing an episode in the next month or two. Fido is going to be on the show. He said he'd be down. Dylan Barr, should be fun. Travis Lopez, I'm trying to pin down, and then just a couple other cool ones. So just keep an eye out for that. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. That is all for now. Happy New Year's, or I'll see you guys right before New Year's. Meredith, you were the coolest. Thank you so much for being on here.
Thanks for having me. Good night, you guys.
Good stories. See y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.
Good catching up.